I'm Byron Tyler. We're backstage at the Welk Theatre. Just wrapped up the opening night of the Tony Orlando Christmas show here in Branson. Merry Christmas, Tony.
Merry Christmas to you, too. Thank you. Had a good time.
Is it hard to believe that 20 years of celebrating Christmas here in Branson is coming to a close this season for you?
Well, I will celebrate Christmas in Branson every year because I'm never leaving town as a member of the city. I love Branson. I love the Ozarks. It's my home. They'll bury me here. They're going to have one New Yorker for sure buried in one of the lots around here, that's for sure, because they have treated me with open arms. It's been wonderful, and there's a lot of new blood coming into town, and that's a good thing for this city. I want to see the city grow and turn into a destination again that is appealing to all ages, and I think it's time for, I know Yakov's, this is Yakov's last year and mine, it's time for a whole new bunch to come in. And we have some great ones now. Clay Cooper's in there. The Haygoods are great. You know, there's some phenomenal shows out there. And, of course, the Lennon Sisters this Christmas with the Osmonds. That's perennial as it gets. So Branson is going to be in good shape, and I'm in good shape because I live here.
Well, listen, I want to thank you personally for walking me down memory lane. I grew up watching you on CBS Wednesday nights, the show.
You remember the night?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Right, yeah.
And then taking us tonight and back on memory lane, but then during going back after the intermission into what Christmas is really all about. And you helped me to worship our Christ in a very special way tonight. Thank you so much.
That's the most important thing you've said to me yet. That really, thank you for that. Because when we did our first Christmas show, my manager, Susan Renee, and myself, we wanted very much to be pure in the sense of what Christmas is about. Because the soil in this area is very fertile for God and country. No one would ever dare say anything but, yeah, that's what's Christmas about. Yeah, that's right. Respect our veterans. That's what our country's about. And this part of the country still feels that way. There are a lot of parts of our country that doesn't feel that way. And I think that as long as we stand up for Christ, Christ stands up for us. And I don't think we'll have a problem in this country as long as we continue to do so.
Tony, you grew up in the streets of New York City. 52 years you've been entertaining, troops around the world.
52 years?
I'm 51.
You weren't born yet. My God, I was 16 years old when I first started. 1961. 1961, I said I was 16 years old. I had my first hit record, and that's 52 years later I'm here. And like tonight, believe it or not, I hope you believe this, but doing that show, of all the shows I've done in my life, that's the most important show I'll ever do. Every night, because that show really is not for anything else but to give him, the respect and love he deserves, and during Christmas. And to me, if I accomplish that, and I feel I accomplished that at the end, and that includes, will the sound be good? Because, the enemy is always in there. And every time we open, there's always a problem. He don't want this show on that stage. And when we win, and when we do this show, and the devil be damned.
Yes.
And when he walks out, he knows he lost because we raised that baby up. And of all the people who become a soldier for Christ, it's Santa Claus. Santa Claus comes in and ministers to me and says, you don't have a nativity in your house? And if you do, and I'm going to give you one for Christmas, you make sure you put it where everyone can see it. And you're finding people saying, no Christmas trees are allowed, no nativity scenes allowed, it's against this, against that. No. You put that nativity out there on your lawn, on your end table, and you let everyone see it, and you stand up for it. And that's why when I walk off that stage tonight, all I know is I look up and go, I hope you know it was for you. None of this is for me.
Yes. What about the energy? I mean, you don't stop from the moment you get on stage until you walk off. It's nonstop.
That's God again. Susan prays before we go on, and the energy comes in you. It's the Holy Spirit. What can I say? I mean, I can't say it's me. I'm 69. You know, when I leave here, I walk back to the house. I go, honey, is the coffee ready? Is it on? Is it going to sit down and have some coffee? When I'm on the stage, it's like, yes, you know.
Wow.
And the energy comes from the audience, too.
Yeah.
We're blessed to have these people out there. You know, 52 years in show business and still have 1,200 people sitting out there going, hi, we're here. And, you know, it's hard to get out to do a show. You have to put your makeup on. You have to hold yourself if you got to go to the bathroom and you can't leave because you're in the middle of a show. You got to worry about transportation. You got to worry about dinner. I'm hungry. I want to get home. You have to, all these things, all these dynamics could be happening, and they're there to see you.
Yeah.
And this is a blessing, and this is I owe it to them that I go out there and give them everything I got. And all that energizing comes from their presence, really.
Soldier's Wish has a place in your heart. I just heard about this. Matter of fact, I was downtown eating a sub on Branson Landing. I saw a little placard on my table that said Tony or Len.
It's in every restaurant in town.
Yeah, tell me about Soldier's Wish.
Soldier's was an organization I just recently discovered, or I should say they discovered me through a friend of mine, Paula Johnson. And she said, "These people do great things, and like Make-A-Wish Foundation brings a wish to a child or a person. This is an organization that brings a special wish to our military. It doesn't matter what war, when, or where. It's it could be a Vietnam vet, could be a Desert Storm vet, it could be a World War II vet, it could be a World War I vet. We've had a World War I vet in our audience, believe it or not. Just recently passed away at 109 years old. And he was the oldest one, I think. And she came to me, this girl, Crystal, and her people from Soldier's Wish, and they said, do you have anybody in mind? We can grant their wish. So God would have it, I was at Fort Hood 2 weeks before. And they went through hell with that shooting. Yeah. Lost a lot of, and so many are deployed out of Fort Hood to go to Afghanistan. And so many families have lost their loved ones there. So I was asked to go to the transition unit for the Wounded Warriors, and I'm in there, and I'm having fun with some of the guys. And there's one particular guy sitting over in the corner, and he's, I'm thinking, man, something wrong with him. He's angry. And he walked up to me and he went, I have to have my hips replaced, and I have no money, and I don't even know what's worth living for anymore. Well, I sat him down. I had a good long talk with him. When I left there, I couldn't shake him. Lo and behold, God has this phone call come in. This is Soldier's Wish Foundation, and we'd like to grant a wish to a soldier. I said, really? Let me send you a picture of a guy I just met at Fort Hood. Sure enough, tonight after the show, Crystal from the organization is sitting down with Susan and I, and Susan Maneo and I, and she says, listen, I think we're going to grant him his wish to go home. He doesn't know it, but we're bringing him to the show. He thinks that's his. He thinks we're just doing him a favor because you and him hit it off, and he doesn't know what organization we are. And so he wanted to go home to see his family. We're going to grant him that. And when we asked him, what's the biggest wish? If you could have a wish, what would it be? He says, a bass boat. So they're going to ask, hopefully, one of the big companies here in town for a bass boat. And hopefully that person who I know will have a heart in his chest, because I know that person, I won't mention his name, will give that person that bass boat. I know he will. And so when we have the Veterans Show here with Ollie North, my co-host, and we bring this young man up on stage, he has no idea what he's in for.
Oh, my.
So to be part of a Soldier's Wish, I could think of no organization I'd love to front and talk for and bring hopefulness and happiness to our military. This is a great organization, and it's only started last May.
Yeah. Tony, in closing, is there just one thing, looking back over 52 years, that stands out to you, and looking over your career over 52 years, what stands out to you most?
I'd be a liar if I said it was just one. You can't do 52 years and say there was just one. Probably the thing that stands out the most to me now in retrospect is my mother was always in the audience. She just passed away. So if there's one thing that I miss about this whole thing is seeing her out there and having her come back to the stage after the show and say, in Spanish, lo matate doble, meaning you killed him twice.
Wow.
And that's the one thing I didn't hear tonight that I surely missed. So probably the biggest thing in show business I miss is those kind, supportive words from Mom.
Wow. God bless you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Tony
To you
Orlando.
too. God bless you, and thank you very much, all of you, for being so kind to me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.